For this session, I wrote 65 words. Hello, Sybil. For this session, I wrote 92 words. For this session, I wrote 45 words. Usually I film the majority of my vlogs on Mondays and Thursdays for Tuesday and Friday uploads. And I've been doing so because I want to upload as close to real time as possible to encourage those of you who may be writing along in your process. However, I have decided to experiment with some small tweaks, and I am filming on a Sunday instead of a Monday. This is because on Sundays, my husband trains for jiu-jitsu in an intensive class. It's a class that's longer and more technical, I believe, than his usual weekday classes. So I have a big chunk of time where I have the apartment to myself and it's quiet. Up until now, I have been reserving my Sundays for rest days where I just completely step away from anything reading or writing related, and it's just a totally free space for me to exist. And really, I was acquainting myself with this space of Sunday to see what all it had to offer, and thinking of my days in the framework of space then time has really changed the way that I go about my week. Moving on to new books in my collection. First up, we have volume 2 of The Complete Sherlock Holmes, and this is the second and final counterpart to volume 1. Next, we have Tales of Ancient Egypt by Roger Lancelin Green. And this is a YA level book, I believe. And it is written in very simple sentences, but it is very immersive from the prose samples I have read. So I picked this up because I wanted an easy way to remember and keep track of ancient Egyptian stories. Next, we have Sir Philip Sidney, The Major Works. I first discovered Sidney through an poetry anthology book that I found at Goodwill, which has become one of my favorite pocket poetry books to this day. And then I discovered that there was a collection of his work, so I picked this up. Next up, we have On War by Karl von Clausewitz, and this is the ginormous volume of nearly 900 pages. I don't know if this is the completely unabridged collection, but it is the most complete collection that I have found. Other versions have it at around 600 pages or so. I picked this up for some research. Down the road, eventually, I wanted to write characters pre-war and post-war, so I figured this could help me gain some insight into the world of war and warfare. Lastly, we have the Cambridge Dictionary of Philosophy. This is a massive reference book. I didn't realize it was going to be this big, but I've already started reading into this, and it is a very, very handy reference book. I just flipped to a random page, and I will share with you a random excerpt. Ethical constructivism, a form of anti-realism about ethics, which holds that there are moral facts and truths, but insists that these facts and truths are in some way constituted by or dependent on our moral beliefs, reactions, or attitudes. For instance, an ideal observer theory that represents the moral rightness and wrongness of an act in terms of the moral approval and disapproval that an appraiser would have under suitably idealized conditions can be understood as a form of ethical constructivism. Another form of constructivism identifies the truth of a moral belief with its being part of the appropriate system of beliefs, e.g., of a system of moral and non-moral beliefs that is internally coherent. Such a view would maintain a coherence theory of moral truth. Moral relativism is a constructivist view that allows for a plurality of moral facts and truths. Thus, if the idealizing conditions appealed to in an ideal observer theory allow that different appraisers can have different reactions to the same actions under ideal conditions, then that ideal observer theory will be a version of moral relativism as well as of ethical constructivism. Or if different systems of moral beliefs satisfy the appropriate epistemic conditions, e.g. are equally coherent, then the truth or falsity of particular moral beliefs will have to be relativized to different moral systems or codes. See also ethical objectivism, ethics, ideal observer, and relativism. I will 100% be using this book as a break glass in case of emergency for creative inspiration. If I'm having those days where I really can't think of anything to write, I will fully be flipping over to a random page, picking an entry, and figuring out how to integrate that entry into my manuscript. And I just did another random flip, and I opened up to Maurice Merleau-Ponty. I have been reading his works as well on my phone, and that has been an enjoyable experience, though very, very intensive. I am seeing that this book is already synchronizing to me, so that makes me happy. Let's see. Wow. I landed on intuitionist logic, and I didn't even know there was such a thing. Anyways, I'm gonna stop and go and enjoy my Sunday. I hope if you're writing along that your writing is going fabulously. And if you're in a difficult pass of your manuscript, remember that moving slow also works. And if not, take a break, take care of yourself, because you are your writing. For this session, I wrote 58 words, and that is a wrap for this vlog.